it's Cindy at Little House Homestead, and I'm sorry I'm a day late on the video, but we have a storm coming in. We just had a windstorm with hurricane force winds, and it broke the guy wires on my chimney, so we've been spending the time fixing the chimney so that we can have fire, because we've got a storm coming in over the next 2 days. And depending on which weather station you listen to, we're going to get anywhere from 2 inches to a foot of snow and another gale force wind series coming through. So that kind of took precedence over getting this done. Sorry for that. The dogs are already over here lurking, waiting to photobomb, so don't be shocked. Anyways, a couple little housekeeping things real quick. I am going to do a video of what I did with the summer, and Dodge, go lay down already, I'm telling you, to show you what I've done. I spent my entire summer working on my parents' cabin, so I want to be able to show you what went on over there, what's been done, and give you guys an update there. Their cabin is so close to being done, and then I can work on mine. Anyhow, we're going to be talking about pigs today. They're my third favorite animal, right behind chickens and cows. They're not easy keepers, but you get the most out of them. They've got a quick turnaround rate for getting to butcher. They're incredibly smart. And they're almost like chickens. You could sit and watch them because they sit around and they do crazy things. They also, you can breed them more than once a year, so you could actually get more than one litter out, depending on your climate. If you live someplace like me in the middle of Montana where it's freezing cold, don't breed pigs in the winter, please. They don't like the cold, and they don't like wind and sleet. You really have to take care of them. They don't like sunburns either. So anyways, we're going to start with housing. This is the one thing that really bums me out about my summer, is that I didn't get my pig pens built. I was so looking forward to that, but I just simply ran out of time before the bad weather got here. We've already had a couple of inches of snow, and now we're going to get more. So I've lost out on that building time, but that's the one thing that I wish that I could have gotten done this summer, was get the pig pens in, because they are, say will quit, because they are so easy to keep. Well, not necessarily easy, but they're good to get you going. Anyhow, let's get started with their housing. They don't need a 6-foot ceiling. You can actually do like a little 4-foot pen, like a 4-foot tall building. Make sure you insulate the ceiling. The ceiling needs to be insulated because they don't like condensation dripping on them. They get cold very easily, so if there's any kind of draft in their pen, they'll get cold from the wetness on them. I insulate the walls too, and I'll actually probably double insulate the walls here, just because they don't like the cold. It also gives them a place where it'll be cooler in the summer. They can go in and lay down, and they'll have plenty of shade. They'll have plenty of area to stretch out and relax, and they won't have that sun beating down on them, burning them. So good shelter is absolutely vital, but it doesn't have to be tall enough to walk in, and it doesn't need to be huge, because they will get in there together. Just make it so you can get a rake in there and get it raked out. Or my idea for this pen is that I'm going to put a flip top lid on it, and then have heavy duty hasps to hold the lid down, so I can flip it backwards, clean it out real well, because you have to keep a pig pen clean. And then I'll be able to just flip the lid back, latch it down, and that'll make it so that I don't have to waste the money on lumber for a full height pen, and at the same time they get what they need with it being warm and cozy in there. They do need to be absolutely warm in the winter. Don't let them get cold. And they need to be dry. They don't like to lay on the floor. It's not good for them. So what you want to do is create a raised floor, whether it be packed earth that's higher than the rest of the pig yard, or it could be rock, or if you want to put in some pallets and put a subfloor on it, get them up off the ground. Don't let the wind go underneath it, of course, but get them up off the ground with a hard surface, and then put a good 3 or 4 inches of hay, or not hay, but straw in on the floor. So that way they can get in there and they can get all snuggled in there and be warm when they need to be warm. Putting 4 inches of hay into their pig house will actually bring the temperature in there up by about 10 degrees Fahrenheit, which is actually considerable, especially when you live someplace where it's -50 in February. Also, keep their food and water away from where they sleep. They will splash the water out, they'll get the water everywhere, they'll make a mud pit, and they will foul their bedding and they won't sleep in it. And you also don't want their food in there because you don't want the mice in there. Pigs catch diseases pretty easily, so you don't want mice in their bed. It's going to be bad enough with the straw, but you don't need anything that draws in extra vermin into their pen. Keeps the bugs out, keeps the critters out, and keeps the pigs healthier. It also keeps it healthier when they're not standing in mud, slipping and sliding where their water containers are. They don't break anything. So you've got that added cleanliness and safety right there. If you keep their water up and their food up a little bit, whether you put it on a raised box, a railroad tie, or hang it on the fence, or however you decide to do it. But keep it clean, because pigs definitely need the cleanliness. For their fencing, I recommend the hog panels. I actually get the 4-inch square so that they're a smaller square. Pigs are smart. Gosh, they're smart. I put my fence posts, my T-posts in every 4 feet, because with a 16-foot panel, they'll figure out how to bow it and lift it, because they go in and they root, and they will push it up, and they will tip the fence posts. So make sure you've got plenty of fence posts in. Make sure that they can't dig underneath it. Don't be afraid to really stake that fence in, because pigs are smart. They'll defeat just about every. If it's a regular field fence, a wire field fence, they'll just bend it out of shape and get out and run off. And you want to be able to protect these guys from predators. That's incredibly important, because pigs bring in predators and they're easy prey, especially since we clip their wolf teeth. Put a chute in that you can guide them through. Make sure that it's short enough that you can hop over, because you need at least 2 avenues of escape when you're in behind a pig. Not because they're horribly mean and aggressive, although the boars can get that way, but because they're just big animals, and big animals, when they're scared, can inadvertently hurt you. So give yourself 2 avenues of escape. Make yourself a hurdle board. It's basically a piece of plywood with some handles on the back, and you can push them forward through the chute. Your chute needs to be wide enough that they can walk down it, but thin enough that they can't turn around in it. If they turn around in it, they can get stuck, or they can come at you with the aggressive end of their body, which is their teeth. And pigs can bite. They don't normally, but they can. Don't take the chance. So let's get into some of the vocabulary of pigs. A gilt is a female pig that has never been bred. And then you have the sow, which is the female that has been bred. That's the one that you're aiming toward getting for your breeding stock. The barrow is a castrated male. These are the best ones, in my opinion, to feed out for the table. They're the ones that I like the most, but if I get a gilt heavy litter, then I will go ahead and bring those extras up as well. But usually I try and take the extra gilts and sell them, because everybody needs new breeding stock rotating through. A boar is easy to keep off to the side, and you bring in a new gilt that's not related to your pig. So that's a good way to rotate through your stock with your neighbors and other folks in your area. And then, of course, you have the boar, which is your uncastrated male. And he's going to be your problem. When I feed a pig, I get the Piglet starter mash. I actually get the crumble. And then for the pigs, I get the pelleted pig feed at the feed store here. I'm getting older. It's getting harder for me to mix feeds and things like that, just because it's just me. So as I get older, I appreciate that my feed store does a really good job with feeds that aren't the commercial Walmart feeds. I don't care for the Walmart feeds, but that's just my personal opinion. It's up to you on what you prefer. Sorry, like I said, we've had gale force winds and my allergies have just absolutely been nuts. If you want, you can even build your own feed for your pigs. I have neighbors that like to run at 22% protein. I find that's too hot of a feed, too much protein. I average between 15 and 17% protein, and that seems to put on a good amount of weight, and I get the best results with right around in the 15 to 17% range. So if you want to go back and look at the feed calculation video, you can go ahead and devise your own feed between the 15 and 17% range for protein. And I think in a homestead situation, because you can't always get the bulk, sometimes it is best with your local feed store to just go ahead and utilize them. Plus you're helping support a local business. They're usually mom and pop places. Mine certainly is. And so you're helping the community as well. Sorry, I had to upgrade all this down because it's just been a really hectic last couple days. Pigs are also great for disposing of table scraps. I give all kinds of table scraps. No nutshells, no eggshells, nothing that they can't chew up with their teeth, because they just don't need that in their gut. You don't want to take any risks with them. I give them the lettuce and the leftover fruit, and you know, occasionally there's a little bit of meat, no bones. Not that they can't eat them, I just prefer not to give it to them. But I throw a lot of table scraps out with the pigs. They are great digesters. Between them and my chickens, they always know when I'm coming. So keep in mind that you don't want to put stuff they can't digest, but they are a great way to get it processed so that you can put it into your garden. And pig feces is great in the garden, that's for sure. For breeding, you're going to need to have some special things for breeding your pigs. I keep my boar separate from all of my pigs. He's in his own pen. He doesn't go in with the other pigs. Just not going to happen. And then you also need a farrowing pen, which is for when your pig is, I put her in there way early because I've had some bad luck, but about a week before she's ready to give birth, you put her in a separate pen until you're ready to wean the piglets. You do not, when you breed them, you take no, Sable, don't pull that cord. Sorry. You take and you put her in with him. I usually give them about 15 days. Some people say, oh, you should give them 20. It depends if you know when they go through their estrus cycle. Usually if you are out and about in your barnyard, you actually know when your animals are doing that kind of thing, so you can get a bit of a narrowed down time that you have to leave her in. And then I take her and put her straight to the farrow pen, just because I don't want to have to deal with losing any more pigs. That's just not going to happen. But you do not leave her in with the boar. The boar will bully pregnant sows, and they will actually cause them to abort. So don't leave the boar in with pregnant sows. That's a huge problem with boars. And I know some people AI. I'm not AIing a pig. Not going to happen. So I just don't put him in there. Anyhow, the breeding cycle or the pregnancy gestation length for a pig is the rule of threes. 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. I think that comes out to somewhere around 105, 110 days, something like that. So that's about how long you have until she's ready to give birth. That's how long she's pregnant. Most people put their sows into the farrowing pen about a week before. So you have to keep track of when they've actually bred. And that's the other thing is that if she's in there for 15, 20 days with the boar, do you know which day she was bred? So that's the other reason that I throw her in immediately over to the farrowing pen, is it just saves me from having to try and figure out when she is going to go ahead and give birth. So that'll save you a lot of trouble. When the piglets are born, you're going to be feeding her, of course, and taking care of her while she's in the farrowing pen, just like you would. I give them a little extra feed, keeps their protein level a little higher, and then the piglets are finally born. They have what are called wolf teeth. They've got like 8 of them, and I have a lovely vet tech here. She comes out, she does all my debudding for all my calves and goats and sheep and things like that. But she also will clip the wolf teeth. It's like cutting a dog's toenails. You've got to go in and clip the little sharp teeth. I'll put a picture of it on Facebook and MeWe for y'all. But you got to get those wolf teeth clipped because they can actually hurt the sow to where she won't nurse them. So you need to go ahead and take care of that. And then you're also going to want to put out piglet food, because you need to start feeding them some mash or crumble, whatever it is that you prefer to give them. And then at about, I wouldn't say any earlier than 21 days and any later than maybe 35 days, 34, 35 days, you're going to wean them. That means you're going to put the sow back into the pen with the adult pigs, and you are going to go ahead and they're going to only have their starter food. Seriously, dog? Dude, please stop. Go lay down. No, not you too. Go lay down. I'm telling you, these guys are horrible. Come and sit. They really, really want to be in the video. Come here, Comet. Look, there's Comet. Okay, Sable, you saw. Okay, you guys go late. You guys got your chance. Go. Telling you. Anyhow, when you go ahead and wean a piglet, she goes back to the pen. You feed the piglet the starter feed, and then you slowly add in the adult feed. I gauge it on how well they eat it. If they're not eating it all, I back off a little. If they're eating it completely up, I add a little more. If they're losing weight, I go backwards, back toward the piglet mash. If they're gaining weight just fine, then I know I can up to the next level of, seriously, because the next level of adult food in their feed. So that way you can tell just by how they're growing, if they're gaining weight properly. If they start looking sickly or anything, call the vet. Don't hesitate. Pigs have so many things they can catch. And in fact, I am going to recommend, and I'll put the information about this book. It's a Storey's book, Guide to Raising Pigs. This is what I give all the 4-H kids to use. It covers a lot of the different diseases and things like that, so that you don't have sick pigs. I don't give my pigs any drugs, but there are vaccines that you can give them. There are antibiotics you can give them. Just remember, swine flu transfers into people, so there is that human boundary that a lot of pig diseases can cross into people. So you want to keep your pigs really healthy. So I would recommend making sure that you take really good care of your pigs, and get them vet checked at least twice a year. A lot of country docs will come out. Ours will come right up to my pens. She'll take a look at all my animals and get it all in one bill. She'll spend half a day here, give me a flat rate fee, and then all of my animals have every checkup they need for the year, or 6 months, whichever animal that we're looking at. So get this book. It's really great. The kids love it. There's a lot of pictures. There's a lot of ideas in it. So many ideas in it. So it's a great reference book to have. And anything stories is always a good reference to have. So raising pigs, here are the things that I have learned and that have been the best tips that I can give you. Stagger their pregnancies and farrowings so that you don't have them all due at once. You don't need 5 pigs in labor and having piglets all at once. Not fun. Experience speaking. Anyhow, stagger them. If you've got one that you just bred, wait 2 months, breed the next one, then wait 2 months and breed the next one. If you're breeding more than 1 pig a year, but don't stack them all up so that you don't have time. I like to wait until the one is almost ready to come out of the farrowing pen back into the regular pen and the piglets are almost ready to go. That's the thing I forgot to mention. I keep the piglets in the farrowing pen after weaning for a couple of weeks until they're completely switched over to the adult food. Once they're completely on adult food only, then I put them in with the big pigs. So that's when I want my next pig to be able to go into the farrowing pen. So that's how I gauge, because I'll put her in to breed as the other pigs are getting ready to go out into the main pen. So because they're now pigs, not piglets. So that's what I do. It works for me, and I don't have too much going on all at once. Oh Lord, somebody's outside. Quit. Vomit. Go lay down. Here, lay down. Pigs need to be clean. Keep their pens clean. When you're done with the farrowing pen, clean it out completely so that the next one can go in, that you're not spreading pig-to-pig diseases. I would stop the video, but they'll just keep on going and I'll never get finished. But anyways, clean everything. Clean their water containers weekly at least. I clean mine twice a week. Clean their food containers every time you refill them. Clean out their pen as soon as you see that it is getting to be soiled. And have, like, I have an inner pen where I lock them up at night, and then they go out into a bigger area during the day where they can go root around. They don't graze. They're not grazing animals. So they're not going to go out and eat the grass, but they are going to push around in the dirt and get the roots and the bugs and things like that. So make sure that you have some place for them to go out and wander around, and you can go in and clean up, because they really do need to have a clean living space. Make sure they have shade. Pigs sunburn, especially light colored pigs. So make sure that they have plenty of shade, and then also conversely add that they have plenty of places to go to be warm. If you've got 10 pigs, you need to make sure your pig house will hold 10 pigs comfortably. Don't freeze any pigs. That would be absolutely horrible. Anyhow, rotate where your pigs are a little bit. If you've got enough land that you can give them 2 or 3 different pastures, rotate them through different pastures and then put them up for the night. Make sure they're safe from predators. Predators are the #1 killer of your pigs. So make sure that they get in from the predators. They don't have coyotes coming into the pen. They don't have raccoons in piglet pen. So you need to make sure that they have that added safety, because they can't do that for themselves. And be a responsible pig owner. Also be safe for you. Make sure that you've got your hurdle board. Pig sticks aren't really used much anymore. I think I've got one out in the shed somewhere. But they're not really used unless you're taking a pig to fair. So unless you're a kid going to fair with a pig, pig sticks are pretty useless anymore. Use a hurdle board. It's much easier, much safer. You can train a pig to walk on a leash. So if this is a pig that you're going to be breeding over and over and over, you may want to leash train it to just make it easier to move it around. And I think that's about it. I'll put some extras on Facebook and MeWe like I always do. And if you enjoyed this video, except for the barking dogs, go ahead and give it a like and a share and all that good stuff. Subscribe if you can. Otherwise, I think we're coming up. What are we doing next? Next up is sheep. I got sheep stories. Anyhow, sheep are next time, and I will do a video of what I did this summer coming up here this week. And I will see you all next time.